Rain fell like sharp needles on the rusted roof of the abandoned outpost. The place was cold, dark, and full of shadows. Jason's wrists were tied with some kind of alien cable. He had no idea how long he had been there, maybe hours or even days. His mouth was dry, and his muscles ached. The only sound he could hear was the buzzing of power generators and heavy boots walking back and forth outside the room. Jason was a cargo pilot. He wasn't a soldier, not even close. One moment he was flying food supplies to a research colony. The next he was shot down and dragged into this hellhole by some alien gang. They didn't speak his language, but he understood enough from their gestures. They wanted to sell him like a piece of meat. He had tried to escape once. They broke his nose and laughed while doing it. Now he sat quietly in the corner of the room, next to a pile of broken crates, hoping someone would come, but he knew better. No one was coming. No rescue, no signal, no help. The door suddenly opened with a loud slam. Two tall aliens entered. Their eyes glowed yellow, their armor covered in dirt and blood. One of them pointed at Jason and made a slicing motion with his hand. Jason's heart stopped. They were going to kill him now. But then, without warning, there was a high-pitched scream. It came from the hallway. Sharp, wild. A moment later, something small and fast slammed into the two guards. One was thrown across the room. The other tried to raise his weapon, but it was too late. A blur of red skin, long white hair, and sharp claws took him down in seconds. Jason's mouth dropped open. Standing in front of him was a girl, but not a human girl. She was small, barely 4 feet tall, with glowing red skin and silver blonde hair that touched her waist. Her ears were long and pointed, her eyes glowing bright blue. She wore a short black dress that looked more like warrior armor than fashion. Her body was slim but strong. She looked like a mix of a space princess and a wild animal. She looked at him. "You're the human?" she asked in perfect English. Jason blinked. "What?" I said. "Are you the human they captured?" He nodded, still shocked. She knelt beside him, ripped the alien rope from his wrists like it was paper, and stood up. "You're free now," she said. He rubbed his wrists and looked up at her. Who are you?" "I'm Zella," she said. "I tracked their ship. I came to kill them." Jason was speechless. Zella stepped over the fallen aliens like they were trash. She picked up one of their weapons, checked the charge, then tossed it aside. "Not good enough, it seemed." "Come," she said. "More are coming." Jason followed her out of the room, stumbling over the broken floor. The hallway was filled with smoke and flashing red lights. Sirens were going off. I had no idea how many more guards were in this place, but Zella moved like a shadow. Every time one of the aliens turned a corner, she was already there. She fought with her hands, with stolen weapons, even with pieces of metal. Jason had never seen anything like it. She didn't just fight, she danced. They moved through corridor after corridor, and bodies dropped behind them. At last they reached an open hangar. One of the enemy ships was parked there. Zella looked at him. "Can you fly that?" Jason nodded. "Yes, I think I can." "Good." They ran to the ship, dodging fire from behind. Jason jumped into the pilot's seat and began working the controls. Zella stood behind him, guarding the door. "Who are you really?" he asked while the engines warmed up. She looked at him and gave a half smile. "You'll find out soon." The ship roared to life and they blasted out into space. Jason leaned back, breathing heavily. He looked at the small alien girl beside him, still holding a smoking plasma blade. She looked back at him with a serious expression. Then she said the last thing he expected. "You belong to me now. You're going to marry me." Jason's eyes widened. "What?" Zella crossed her arms and nodded. "It's the rule of my people. I saved your life. Now you're mine." Jason couldn't believe what he just heard. "You're serious?" he asked, still trying to fly the alien ship through the storm of space debris. Zella stood beside him, calm and steady. "Yes, it is our law. You were marked for death. I stopped that fate. Now you are mine." He stared at her, speechless for a few seconds. Look, I appreciate the rescue really, but marriage, don't you think that's a bit fast? Zila tilted her head. We do not waste time. Life is war. When something valuable is found, we claim it before someone else does. Jason laughed nervously. I'm not a bag of gold, you know. She didn't laugh. Her glowing eyes stared right into him. You are more valuable than gold. Jason looked away, cheeks warm. He focused on the control panel. All right, first let's survive. Then we'll talk about your offer. Zila nodded. That is fair. As the ship pushed through the dark sky, something beeped on the radar. Jason looked closer. 3 ships were chasing them. They're not giving up, he said. Then we fight, Zila replied. Jason gripped the controls tighter. This ship doesn't have much defense. Not built for combat. Then we improvise. Zila jumped into the co-pilot seat. Her small fingers moved fast across the alien panel, opening hatches, rerouting power. Jason had no idea what half the buttons did, but Zila seemed to know. The enemy ships opened fire. Bright plasma blasts lit up the darkness. Jason turned hard to the left. The ship shook violently, shields down to 40%. He shouted. Zila's eyes narrowed. I'll handle the rear, you keep us moving. She ran to the back of the ship. Jason could hear doors opening and weapon mounts moving. Then something launched. A trail of smoke followed it. Tanned. One of the enemy ships exploded. Jason smiled. Nice shot, Zila returned, breathing hard. Only 2 left. Jason took the ship into a dive. The second ship followed. Zila waited, then hit a button on the ceiling. A mine dropped from their back and the second ship flew right into it. Now only 1 was left, but it was faster and smarter. Jason tried turning, dodging, climbing, but it stayed right behind them. We're not gonna make it, he said. Zila touched his shoulder. Trust me. She ran to the weapons bay again. Jason held the ship steady. Every second felt like forever. Then a flash. A strange purple blast fired from the belly of their ship. Jason had never seen that kind of energy before. It hit the last enemy ship and melted through its shield. Boom. The last enemy vanished into fire. Zila returned once more, calm like nothing happened. Jason blinked. What kind of weapon? Was that forbidden? She said. He stared at her. You mean illegal? She nodded. On most planets, yes. Jason let out a slow breath. Remind me never to make you angry. She gave him a small smile. Smart choice. They flew silently for a while. The stars outside were quiet again. Safe. Jason finally relaxed in his seat. So, where are we going? My ship, Zila said. It's hidden beyond the asteroid field. My people will want to see you. Why me? Because you're mine, she said softly. And because they'll want to know if you're strong enough to be my mate. Jason blinked. Strong enough? What does that mean? Zila looked at him with a serious face. It means you'll have to pass the trial. Jason groaned. Of course there's a trial. Zila smirked. Don't worry. If you fail, I'll fight for you. Jason turned his head and looked at her again. This small, fierce, beautiful alien girl had saved his life, destroyed 3 ships, and now talked about trials like it was a normal weekend plan. He wasn't sure if this was a dream, or the beginning of his craziest adventure yet, but something inside him whispered that he wouldn't want to be anywhere else. Jason had never seen an asteroid field so thick. Giant rocks floated everywhere, spinning slowly through space like silent giants. Some were the size of houses, others as big as cities. He had to fly carefully, turning and twisting between them. One wrong move, and their ship would be crushed into dust. Zila stood beside him, watching every movement. You're doing well, she said. Jason laughed nervously. Glad you think so. I've never flown through something like this before. You're learning, she said softly. That's a good sign. He didn't reply. He had too many questions in his head. After a long silence, he finally asked, why did you really save me? Zila looked at him for a moment before answering. Because I saw you, Jason frowned. What does that mean? When your ship crashed, I was already tracking the slavers. I planned to attack them anyway, but then I saw you. You were bleeding, still fighting, not giving up, even when they hit you. She paused. That meant something to me. Jason looked away, not knowing what to say. Suddenly a green light blinked on the control panel. Zella touched a symbol, and a hologram appeared in front of them, a massive alien ship, shaped like a curved blade, hidden behind one of the asteroids. We're here, she said. Jason's eyes widened. That's your ship, Zella nodded. The Ravager, my people are inside. Jason landed their smaller ship inside the hangar. As the ramp opened, warm light spilled in. The inside of the Ravager was filled with strange symbols, glowing walls and armored guards. All of them looked like Zella, short, red-skinned, with silver hair and glowing eyes. But none of them smiled when they saw him. One of them stepped forward. She was older, her hair braided with metal rings, and her armor covered in strange markings. Zella, she said sharply, you return, ... and you bring this. Jason shifted uncomfortably. Zella stepped in front of him. He is under my claim. The older alien narrowed her eyes. You used the right of battle. Yes, he must pass the trial, or he will not be accepted. I know, Zella replied. The older woman looked at Jason. You are not one of us. You are weak, soft, but Zella has chosen you, so you get one chance. Fail, and you leave this ship forever. Jason forced a nod. Understood. Two guards took him down a long corridor. The walls were covered in carving, stories of battles, creatures, victories. Jason didn't understand the symbols, but he understood the message. These people were warriors, serious warriors. They led him to a chamber lit with fire and blue crystals. Zella entered alone after him. This is the trial of honor, she said. 3 challenges. Pass all, and you will be accepted. Jason took a deep breath. And if I don't, you'll be thrown out. And I'll be forced to choose another. He looked at her. Would you? Zella didn't answer right away. She stepped close to him and touched his chest lightly. I don't want to, she said quietly. But rules are rules. Even for me. Jason nodded. All right, let's get this over with. A loud horn echoed through the chamber. The fire grew brighter. And then the wall opened, revealing the first challenge. Jason's heart pounded. Whatever was coming, he had to survive it. And maybe, just maybe, win the heart of the alien girl who had already risked everything to save him. The wall opened slowly, making a deep grinding sound. Cold air rushed into the room. Jason stepped forward carefully. Zella stayed behind, watching him with sharp eyes. Inside the first chamber, the floor was made of smooth black stone, and in the center stood a strange machine like a tall pillar, with glowing blue rings spinning around it. On the far wall, words appeared in an alien language. Then a second later a translation flickered under it in English. Trial 1, Strength of Spirit. You may not run, you may not fight, you must stand. Jason read the message again. It didn't make sense at first. Then the rings on the machine started to spin faster. A strange energy began to fill the air. His skin tingled, and a pressure built around him like heavy wind pressing down from every side. Jason tried to move, but his knees almost buckled. The energy grew stronger. His ears rang, his bones shook. He fell to one knee, but the memory of Zella's face came into his mind, calm, confident, waiting. He couldn't fail. Not here, not like this. He clenched his teeth, forced himself up, and stood tall. Pain shot through his back. His muscles screamed, but he did not move. Minutes passed, maybe more. Time felt slow and cruel then. The energy stopped. The machine powered down with a soft hum, and the doors opened. Jason gasped for air, his clothes soaked with sweat. A voice spoke from above. Trial 1, passed. He stumbled out of the chamber. Zella was waiting. She looked at him with something new in her eyes. Pride didn't fall, she said. I almost did, Jason replied. but I remembered who was watching. Zila's cheeks turned a soft shade of pink. She looked away quickly. Come, trial 2 is waiting. They entered the next chamber. It was darker, filled with shadows and strange whispers. The walls looked like mirrors, but nothing reflected back. Suddenly Zilla was gone. Jason looked around. Hello. The door behind him vanished. Then voices started. You're nothing. You're weak. You'll never survive. Jason turned, but no one was there. The voice sounded like his own. More voices came, each one sharper, louder, crueler. You let them hurt you. You begged. You cried. You're not a man. Jason fell to the ground, covering his ears. Stop. But the voices didn't stop. You showed him memories, his ship crashing, the slavers laughing, his own face bleeding. Helpless, he wanted to scream, to run, but he remembered the rule. You may not run. You may not fight. You must stand. So he stood. He screamed. Yes, but he stood. And the voices faded. The mirrors cracked. And then silence. Light returned. The walls turned back to metal. The door opened. Zella waited outside, her expression softer now. You faced your fear, she said. I hated it, Jason replied. But I did it. That's what matters. Before they could speak more, a deep horn echoed across the ship. The final trial is ready, Zella said. Jason sighed. Great. What's next? A fight with a monster. Zilla didn't answer, but the look in her eyes said enough. The final trial wouldn't be like the others. It would be real, it would be dangerous, and if he failed this one, nothing could save him. Jason followed Zilla down a long, narrow hallway. The walls were dark metal, lit by glowing red lines that pulsed slowly like a heartbeat. The air was heavier here, warmer. Every step felt like walking deeper into something ancient and powerful. Zilla didn't speak. Her face was calm, but her fingers were clenched tight. Jason noticed. You're nervous, he said. She glanced at him. This trial is not like the others. I cannot help you now. Jason swallowed hard. Great, what is it? She stopped in front of a large gate. Symbols covered the surface, carved deeply, glowing faint blue. Trial of blood, she said. It tests your courage and your will to protect. The gate opened with a loud hiss. Inside. It was dark. A round arena, with high stone walls. Above them, dozens of zealous people watched from the balconies. Their faces were serious, silent. A deep voice echoed through the chamber. The final trial begins now. A metal door on the far side opened. Jason held his breath. From the shadows, a massive creature stepped out. It looked like a wild mix of alien wolf and armored lizard, thick black skin, glowing eyes, sharp teeth, at least 10 feet tall. Chains dragged from its wrists, but it moved fast. Jason backed away. You've got to be kidding me. No weapons, said the voice. You fight with only what you are. Jason looked at his bare hands. What I am is not enough, he muttered. The beast roared and charged. Jason jumped to the side just in time. The ground cracked where the creature hit. He ran, circled around, looking for something, anything to use. The crowd above stayed silent, watching, judging. The beast turned, growled, and came again. Jason picked up a piece of broken stone and threw it. It bounced off the beast's head, without effect. He ducked under a swing, rolled to the side, and barely avoided getting crushed. His chest burned, his legs shook. He couldn't win this with strength. He had to outthink it. Then he remembered something back on the slaver ship. He had seen similar creatures, rage-driven, but they reacted badly to sound. Jason reached into his pocket. His old communicator was still there, half broken, but it had a high-frequency tone. He switched it on. A sharp whistle filled the arena. The beast screamed and staggered back, shaking its head. Jason didn't waste a chance. He ran straight toward it, climbed its arm like a ladder, and punched the small glass panel on its collar. Sparks flew. The beast roared again, but weaker now. Jason jumped off and landed hard, rolling across the stone. The creature fell to one knee. He stood up, breathing. hard, bloody, and bruised. The arena went silent. Then the deep voice returned. Trial complete. The gates opened again. Jason looked up and saw Zila. She ran toward him. Her eyes were wide, her arms wrapped around him tightly. "You did it," she whispered. "I don't know how," he said, shaking. "You proved yourself." The crowd above began to nod. Some even clapped. Zela looked into his eyes. "You are one of us now." Jason smiled weakly. "So does this mean I passed the marriage test?" Zela smiled back. "You're still alive, aren't you?" Jason laughed for the first time in days. He had come to this world as a victim. Now he was standing beside a girl who had fought for him, believed in him and maybe even loved him. But the real choice still waited. Would he accept her offer, or walk away forever? Jason lay on a soft bed made from alien silk. His body still ached from the trial, but it felt different now. Not pain, just proof that he had survived, that he had earned something. Outside the chamber, alien voices chanted his name, not in anger, but in respect. He still couldn't believe it. A few days ago he was tied up in a dark room ready to be sold. Now, he was an honored guest on a warship full of short, powerful warriors, and one of them wanted to marry him. Zila entered the room quietly. She wore a clean black dress this time, her silver hair tied back, glowing softly under the ceiling lights. Her face looked calmed. Her eyes were watching him closely. "You're awake," she said. "I am," he replied with a small smile. Still trying to believe this is real, Zila stepped closer. "You completed the trial. The elders accepted you. The others respect you now. You are no longer an outsider." Jason sat up slowly. "And you? Do you still want me?" Zela blinked. "Yes. I chose you long before the trials. I just needed to prove to everyone else that you were worthy." He chuckled. "And I had to prove it to you." "Did." They stood in silence for a moment. Then Jason said, "Zila, your people have strange rules, but I've seen who you are. You saved me. You believed in me when I didn't believe in myself." He took her hand gently. "If you still want me, I accept." Zila's eyes glowed brighter. "You do?" Jason nodded. "Yeah, I don't know what the future will look like, but I wanted to include you." She leaned up on her toes and kissed his cheek. "Then it is done." Later that night, the celebration began. Alien lights lit up the ship. Music echoed through the halls. Zila's people danced, sang, and honored the strange new human who had earned their trust. Jason stood beside Zila, now dressed in ceremonial armor made just for him. It was a little tight, but he didn't mind. One of the elders raised a glowing staff and declared, "By the bond of battle and the trial of blood, we recognize the union of Zila and Jason. May they stand together forever unbroken." "Cheers," erupted. Jason looked at Zela. "So, what now?" She smiled. "Now we fight side by side. Now we explore the stars." He laughed. "Not a normal honeymoon. Nothing about us is normal." They held hands as the stars outside the ship shimmered. The warrior girl, who was only 4 feet tall, had beaten his enemies, challenged her own people, and changed his fate. And Jason, just a simple cargo pilot, had found something stronger than war. He had found love in the most unexpected way, in the most unexpected place.